Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be shedding light on what is the death by starvation crisis. So what is the death by starvation crisis, you may ask? Without further ado, without further delay, allow me to demystify that answer to that inquiry right here, right now. Lamentably, much to my dismay, much of my consternation, much of my chagrin, much of my agony, much of my distress, and much of my grief, the death by starvation crisis has culminated in millions of people passing away. These deaths could have been averted, they could have been preempted, they could have been precluded. The death by starvation crisis continues to befall upon humanity. It is truly tragic. The death by starvation crisis remains prevalent throughout the world. It results in at least 9,125,000 people losing their precious lives each year due to unmitigated starvation of the organs and lethal chronic hunger-induced diseases. It can be deduced that billions of people throughout human history have lost their lives due to the death by starvation crisis. The death by starvation crisis is so lethal, is so perilous, is so deadly, is so deleterious that someone passes away about every 3.456 seconds due to the death by starvation crisis. When people cannot afford to buy food, this can induce multi-organ failure. This can induce lethal chronic hunger-induced diseases. This crisis is unbridled, and it can easily be remedied. At least 80 to 90% of all food products are pitched, purged, and relegated to the dumpster. People cannot afford to buy food due to succumbing to chronic poverty, indigence, destitution, and insurmountable debt. Food should be doled out to everyone unconditionally. Fruit trees can be planted everywhere. Vertical farming facilities can be automated. And even robots can operate vertical farming facilities. Arable land supplies do not need to be maintained by human beings. Robots can maintain arable land supplies. Is it reprehensible? Is it deplorable? Is it repugnant that there is a price tag on food and price floors on food? I think food should be offered to everyone for free. Agriculture is automatically automated. Before humans constructed vertical farming facilities, fruit trees were bearing fruits, and arable land supplies were cultivating vegetables. Whoever has a monopoly on the food supplies controls the prices of food products. Food is not a luxury. Without calories, without micronutrients, macronutrients, phytonutrients, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and other salubrious compounds, your vessel cannot sustain itself. Your organs cannot function. You need to have a healthy BMI of well above 18.5, and your organs need to be eminently nourished and eminently hydrated at all times. So, this death by starvation crisis is just absurd, especially since it is completely avertible. They would rather pitch the food, they would rather haul it into the dumpster than dole it out to people for free or sell it at a discounted price. And we live in a control market economy with over 13,000 evisceration fees and no semblance of a safety net. So, if you can't afford food, then it can culminate in you becoming a casualty to the death by starvation crisis. It is quite lamentable. It is quite tragic. Especially since this can easily be preempted if fruit trees were planted everywhere. And if food was doled out to people for free or at discounted prices. Food is not art. It is not an amenity. It's not a luxury. People need it to survive. However, if you put a price tag on the essentials, then it's going to cause people who have been priced out of the food market to not be able to afford to sustain themselves. So, is it deplorable? Is it reprehensible? Is it repugnant? Well, I prefer not to expend any more mental bandwidth on it, just because it's so tragic. It's so easily avertible. It's so easily preventable. But measures are not being taken to remedy the death by starvation crisis. They're not being taken to end the death by starvation crisis, even though the death by starvation crisis can be abruptly ended at any time. Price floors on food products are more than likely never going to be abolished. It does not make any sense that they exist in the first place. And whoever has a monopoly on the food supply is unwilling to sell food products at a discounted price and is unwilling to dole out food products for free. And there's no universal basic income to guarantee everyone a minimum standard of living so they could at least attain a basic standard of living. If there were a universal basic income for everyone to fund their basic needs, then everyone would be able to unconditionally afford food. Being able to eat food products should not be a privilege. It should be an inalienable right. Agriculture is automated. It does not need human laborers for fruit trees to bear fruits. It does not need human laborers for arable land supplies to cultivate vegetables. God never put a price tag on food, nor did Jesus. But humans have. And unlike other products, food is not a luxury product. It should be accessible to everyone for free. And if they're going to put a price tag on food, then they should at least offer a universal basic income, especially in a control market economy with over 13,000 evisceration fees, in which people work real private sector jobs based on voluntary demand, do not receive anything for paying into these evisceration fees. The money is remitted to welfare aristocrats who do not work in any capacity. But with a universal basic income, everyone would at least be able to attain their basic needs. If it furnished everyone with enough purchasing power to attain their basic needs. Everyone should be able to unconditionally have access to food products. They are an essential need and not deemed a luxury. There's death by starvation crisis. That culminates in well over 9,125,000 people passing away each year due to unmitigated starvation of the organs and lethal chronic hunger-induced diseases is completely avertible, can be ended, and can easily be remedied rapidly. These deaths are preventable. So, I hope that you found this video to be insightful and enthralling. Have a blissful day. Goodbye.